Christopher Nolan just did something nobody thought he had left in him. He made a movie people are furious about before they even saw it. Not mixed reviews, not divisive, furious, hundreds of thousands of dislikes on a trailer from a director whose name alone used to guarantee applause. So what actually happened here? Did Nolan lose the plot, or did the internet just need something to be angry about? This is Movizo, where we don't just tell you if a film is good, we tell you why everyone's talking about it. Let's get into it. Here's the one thing almost nobody is giving this film credit for. The people who actually sat through the whole thing are saying it's one of Nolan's strongest work in years. Not decent, not watchable, strongest. And that's the part that should stop you mid-scroll, because everything you've heard about this film happened before a single official screening review dropped. The casting drama, the trailer backlash, the Elon Musk commentary, all of it built up around a 2-minute clip. Meanwhile, the actual craft, the thing Nolan has built his entire career on, apparently still holds up. Think about that for a second. We've spent weeks arguing about Helen of Troy's casting and Travis Scott's rap cameo, and almost nobody's talking about whether the film itself works as a piece of storytelling. That imbalance is honestly the real story here. But here's the thing, that doesn't mean the criticism came from nowhere. Let's be specific, because the trailer was bad isn't an actual critique. The problem is the dialogue in that trailer. You've got English actors playing ancient Greeks, and instead of leaning into anything that feels period appropriate, the lines land like modern American movie dialogue, casual, blunt, dropped straight out of a war film set in the 1940s, not a 3,000-year-old epic. When a soldier barks something that sounds like it belongs in a World War II movie, it doesn't feel bold. It feels like you're watching actors, not characters. That's the drag point. Not the length, not the packing, the voice of the film in its marketing didn't match the weight of the story it's telling. And then there's the casting logic problem, which is different from the diversity conversation entirely. Adding a major pop culture name like Travis Scott and framing it as an homage to oral storytelling traditions is a stretch that a lot of viewers aren't buying, not because of who he is, but because the justification feels retrofitted onto a marketing decision rather than the other way around. Here's where Nolan's biggest strength, his reputation for never compromising for star power, is exactly what makes this sting more than it would for literally any other director. But even that's not the loudest part of the conversation. The loudest part is something else entirely. Moment 1, the Helen of Troy casting reveal. This wasn't just a casting announcement, it was a culture war grenade. You had one side saying any objection was rooted in prejudice, and the other side saying the casting ignored what the character is actually built around in the text. Here's the part people keep skipping. Helen barely appears in the actual poem. One scene, basically one chapter, and almost the entire scene is about her beauty being described by everyone around her. So when your one big departure point is a character whose entire narrative function is a specific kind of description, the casting conversation was never going to stay quiet. Moment 2, the black armor reveal. Small detail, huge reaction. Instead of the bright bronze most people picture from history class Greece, Nolan went with dark, almost medieval-looking armor. Turns out there's a real historical theory behind sulfur-darkened bronze, so there was research behind it. But visually, it reads more Batman than Trojan War, and that disconnect between intent and perception is exactly where a lot of the historical accuracy backlash actually started, and it started before any of the political discourse did. Moment 3, the translation choice. Nolan has openly said he leaned on a modern, more literal 2017 translation of the text, one that strips away a lot of the romanticized language older versions are known for. That single decision explains almost everything downstream. The blunt dialogue, the unglamorized tone, the sense that this isn't trying to be a comfortable, nostalgic epic. Whether that was the right call is genuinely the most interesting debate buried under all the noise, and almost nobody's having it. Here's where I land. The film itself, based on what's actually being reported by people who watched it, sounds like a genuine risk that mostly pays off. The backlash isn't really about the movie, it's about what the movie represents. A director everyone trusted to resist studio-driven casting decisions, appearing to make one anyway. That's a legitimate disappointment if it's true, but judging the film by its 2-minute trailer before release is like judging a 3-hour epic by its worst 30 seconds. I'm not going to pretend the marketing didn't fumble, it did. But the movie and the marketing are not the same thing, and right now everyone's reviewing the marketing. Real question for you. If you had Nolan's pull in Hollywood, the ability to cast literally anyone, would you have gone all in on an unknown, all-Greek cast for authenticity, even knowing it might make less money? Or would you have made the same star-studded gamble he did? Drop your answer below. I actually want to see where people land on this one. That's the Odyssey breakdown. Whether this ends up being remembered as a bold reinvention or a cautionary tale about star-driven casting, we'll know soon enough. Next up, we're breaking down another trailer that's splitting the internet. You don't want to miss that one. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. A Movizo.